What is up, Rage Nation? We are back with another behind-the-scenes interview. Or I guess it's a behind-the-scenes video of a radio interview. We got Zander here with us. What's up, man?
Nothing much. How you doing, man?
I am fantastic. I am glad to share your music, bro, because I tell you what, before we get started, the first song that I saw from you guys was Hypo. I saw you listed on the SMR chart. And I was like, oh, Split Persona. All right. Because I'm a band name guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I see a band name that I like, I'm like, I got to check that out. And boy, was I impressed.
Thank you, man.
I mean, I was speechless.
Wow. That makes me really happy.
I'm
glad you like it.
Not only was the video perfect, I mean, just the song in general. And I was like, daggum, man, this guy should have been born like where he was like 20, like in 1992.
I've heard that so many times, like 90s. I think the earliest I heard was like 70s. Someone was like, you should have been born in the 70s. And I think that was when the band was more of a rock and roll approach, like when we first started. And now that we've kind of ventured to the heavier side, everybody's like, you should have came up with like Deftones and Chevelle and all these different bands. And I'm like, man, I wish I could, but I can't turn back time. I can only bring it to now. It's best I can do.
Maybe one of these days somebody invented time machine. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. I mean, I always have that question come up where it's like, what's the one concert you would visit if you had a time machine? And it's either I want to hear yours, but mine is either Metallica's Live in Seattle album that they did. That concert was insane. Or Korn at Woodstock 99 where the crowd just looked like water. Just moving. That would have been so fun.
Yeah. Woodstock in general. I mean, that was like crazy. I mean, like the Kid Rock set was crazy. The Korn set was crazy. The Limp Bizkit set was crazy.
People riding 2x4s throughout the crowd.
It was insane.
Yeah,
I'd probably have to go with Woodstock 99 too.
Sweet, man.
It was definitely.
Heck yeah.
So before we get, I forgot to get this going. I was watching the LSU game. And Whit Weeks just deformed his ankle. They said it was facing the opposite direction. So I'm bummed out.
I hate those videos. Those creep me out.
All right. So if you're watching this video and you really dig what Indie Rage Radio does, we give a global platform to independent and unsigned bands. One way you can help us is by using our Amazon affiliate link. It's down in the description. It is in the crawl. Everybody shops on Amazon. It is free for you. All you got to do is in your browser on your phone or your PC or your Apple Mac, tinyurl.com/Amazon link MO. Every time you shop at Amazon, we receive a small commission. There's no added cost to you, and it helps keep the wheel rolling around here at Indie Rage.
And don't use Honey. If you use that link, don't use Honey because they'll take your affiliate link.
Yeah, you get scammed.
Yes. Yes.
I saw that video.
We're trying to spread the word. We're trying to spread the word.
Yeah. Did you get caught up in that?
Thankfully, we didn't get caught up in it, like in a business kind of standpoint. But when we saw that video recently, we made an Instagram reel, and I was really hoping it was going to take off. I was like, this one better go somewhere. And it was me and our bass player, Sam. I called him like day of, and the dude works swing shift at a Hilton here in town. I called him day of, and I was like, dude, we need to make a video about this today. And I was like, and I have a perfect idea. I'm going to Party City right now to buy a bunch of props and whatever. I bought like a bunch of fake money and a bunch of fake coins and whatever. And we made a video. I told him, I was like, when I show up, have your 3-piece suit on. We're going to make a video in suits. And we made a video that was like, POV, you're the CEO of Honey, and you just raked in every affiliate commission link or commission money. And it's just us like dancing around with fake money for the video.
I'm about to go watch that.
Yeah, please do. It's very, very funny and stupid.
I don't use this word very often, but what they did was pretty dastardly. I know that's 1920.
That's a big word to use right there.
Yeah. I'm digging deep for that one, but dastardly seems
I'm I'm flabbergasted you would use that word.
All right, let's get this thing going. Your time is precious.
Go.
All right, here we go. Segment one in 3, 2, 1. Indie Rage Radio, IndieRageRadio.com. We are back with another episode, and I am pumped to have our special guest tonight. We are talking with singer-songwriter, guitarist, and frontman for the band Split Persona, Zander. What's up, my man?
Nothing much, man. How's it going?
It is Look, I'm excited for this episode, dude. Like I was telling you off air, you guys blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. And I was like, I got to get these cats on the show.
Sweet. Well, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you enjoyed our stuff, man.
You can find Split Persona on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch. What do you guys do on Twitch?
Honestly, when we're on Twitch, we've recently talked about wanting to do like some video game playthrough live streams where we all hop on and we get on Discord and we do this big live stream. We all play this game. Last night, me and our video guy, which you actually complimented the hypo video earlier, he's really gonna like that because that was basically all his doing. He's very creative. He's our like creative director. But we hopped onto this game yesterday that I want to play with everybody on Twitch, and it's a ghost hunting game. And you have to go into houses and diagnose the house with whatever ghost is haunting it. It's super creepy.
Huh. So you're walking in there and you got like all the tools, right? You got the digital recorder, you got the spirit box and all that stuff.
Yep. You have like a weird like Mission Impossible truck outside with all your equipment in it, and you go into these houses and you diagnose the house with whatever ghost it has. I told the boys about it yesterday. I was like, we need to get on live streams and start doing this. And actually, that's something we want to do in 2025 is start live streaming some fun stuff, like either gigs or something like that, or we'll just try to make it a one-stop shop for kind of whenever we're live, it's something special.
Look, this is what you need to do. Since you just moved to Vegas, you get on Instagram or whatever, and you hit up Zach Bagans, and you tell him you want to play this game in his haunted museum.
Dude, I am so superstitious. I've heard nothing but crazy things about Zach Bagans' haunted museum. Like my parents were like, we need to go. We need to check it out. I'm like, I'm super superstitious about curses and stuff. So I'm like, no, dude, keep me away from that. I'm terrified.
Okay, maybe it won't happen. They're also on X, YouTube, and of course their EP Drown is everywhere where you consume music. So go support this band, buy the EP, stream it. You know what to do out there. All right, so the first segment of the show, we always play a game because the Rage Nation, they're kind of like the paparazzi. They want to know everything about you, Zander.
Okay.
So we're going to play 10 rounds with Mikey O. And it's kind of like it's kind of like a this or that. I'm going to give you 2 or 3 things. You just tell me which one you like more.
Cool.
All right. Round number 1. Who do you think would win in a fight? Justice League or the Avengers?
The Avengers, because they have like Captain Marvel and the Hulk, and Batman's just a guy he's a rich dude. So I'll say the Avengers.
See, that's the normal reaction. That's what people say, but I always got a rebuttal. Who's going to take care of Superman when all the dust settles?
I was just about to say, I forgot about Superman. I don't know what we're going to do about Superman, but I don't know. They got Thanos, so I think they could get Superman, maybe.
I don't know. Thanos is dead now.
Yeah. So now we have to worry about Superman.
Yeah, Thor waxed him.
Right. I need to rebuttal my education when it comes to DC Comics.
Round number 2. What would you rather play, a venue or a festival?
Festival for sure. There's a lot of new faces at festivals. Like venues, usually exactly who you're going to get. It's 4 to 5 bands at most, unless it's like a little mini festival inside of a venue. We've played one of those before. But a festival is like your chance to really discover bands. Like that's how I got into a lot of different bands. Like a band that I found last year or a year before last was Gideon, this super metal, rockabilly, cowboy metal band. And I just loved their music. And I heard one song, but they were playing at the Aftershock Festival that I was going to that year. And I was like, I have to go check these dudes out live. And there's a lot of other bands that I got to see there that just had the same effect of like, just, whoa, what did I just see? And I go home and listen to them all the time. So I definitely hands down a festival.
Yeah, I was talking with Ryan Williams, formerly Red Sun Rising and currently with New Monarch the other day. And I was talking about, and I kind of alluded it to you off air. I'm a big band name guy. Like when I'm at a festival and I'm looking at the bill, I'm checking out the names going, oh, I got to go see that band. And of course, one of the bands that I found out from Houston, Texas was The Last Starfighter. And they blew my mind with their live performance. And of course, Last Starfighter, it's an old movie. I don't know if you've ever heard about it, but I was like, not only was that a dope movie, that's a dope band name. So I went and checked them out. And Split Persona, I got to give it to you. When that name is on a bill, I'm sure it's arousing curiosity and people want to know what Split Persona is all about.
I'm glad, because I came up with that name when I was 13 years old and had no idea what I was doing. I thought it was the dumbest, like worst band name I could come up with. And then, you know, we had an original band name for Split Persona and it was Subliminal. That was the original band name. And I was like, this is so cool. This is so new wave and edgy. And I think it was like our bassist that looked at like a bunch of different subliminal bands and he was like, we can't use this, like there's so many different ones. And I was like, well, I did play a gig under this name one time and everybody was like, that's the coolest band name in the world. And I'm like, I disagree, but if you guys like it, let's use it.
It paid off.
Ran with it.
Round number 3, coffee or energy drinks?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to go with coffee. Like, I mean, I got an empty Monster can here on the desk, but I love me some energy drinks. I've kind of moved into the more like tea energy kind of place because with vocals, like a lot of sugar is not really always the best thing. So I've kind of gone into the energy tea realm, or the energy shot realm with things like Matador and like 5 Hour Energy. But I love me a good cup of coffee, good cup of Joe. Like waking up in the morning, that's the first thing I want to do is make a cup of coffee. So I love me some coffee. And I think I could easily give up energy drinks for a shot of espresso or an iced coffee or something like that. It's just a lot more savory. It's a lot nicer tasting. It's a lot less manufactured. I don't know. Unless you get McDonald's coffee, then you know that thing came out of a scooper, you know?
Look, I don't know if they sell this in Vegas. However, the town I live in, we have a lot of casinos and they call us Chuck Vegas. So maybe there's like a little thing going on here between us and Las Vegas. There's a Louisiana coffee brand called Community Coffee. If you ever see that in the store, grab you some. It will knock your socks off.
I'm gonna have to write that down after this interview.
Yeah,
I'll have to try it.
It is so good.
Cool.
Round number 4, metalcore or pop punk?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to go with metalcore on this one. I was very into pop punk when I first started playing guitar, bands like Green Day, Yellow Card. You know, I loved that pop punk sound. I mean, Blink-182 was a big influence when I first started playing. I was learning it was hard with Blink-182 because they're just such good musicians, all 3 of them. You want to learn everything on all 3 instruments. So I was learning like Travis Barker drum parts and I was trying to learn, you know, Mark Hoppus bass parts and whatever. But I think metalcore just for me just speaks to that inner, like either a very emotional, like emo kind of help me please. And then it kind of speaks to the like really angry, like you just got cut off in traffic emotion.
Yeah.
And, you know, therapy has told me to deal with these things in a healthy way. And I think the healthy way of dealing with them is putting on old Asking Alexandria and just cranking it to you know, 11 or 12 and just screaming in your car. I think that's where it comes from. I mean, big band that I was into this year was The Plot in You. I love those guys. I really got into them hard, especially after I saw them open up for my personal favorite metalcore band, Beartooth, which I think is funny because they're like hard rock metalcore. They're like kind of in the middle, kind of like us. Like we're kind of just in the middle of everything and we do it all. But, you know, bands like Plot and You, Asking Alexandria. I mean, Icy Stars was a recent one that I you know, Brogan, our guitar player, was like, you should listen to Icy Stars a little bit. And I checked them out. And just every time I discover new metalcore, I have one of 2 reactions. I have one reaction where I'm like, I've heard that before, but I still really like this style and I still really like this. Or it's something I've never heard done before. And I'm like, we're still innovating. We're still getting better. With pop punk, I feel like that speaks to me on darker days, and I have very much less of those than I do getting cut off in traffic where I want to yell "forgotten" by Plot and You full volume.
Right. I hear there's a lot of traffic in Vegas, so you have a lot of opportunity.
I really didn't know what I was getting into when I moved here.
Let's see. Round number 5, snow or sand?
Confident sand. Confident. So we were a Reno band for 4 years. Before that, I lived in Truckee, California, which was about 30, 45 minutes outside of Reno. Buckets of snow. Like people go there to vacation and go ski and go, snowboarding, whatever. So that's where the snow is. And living in Reno, you get that kind of like diluted 25% down, 50% down, but you still get it. And it's still really frustrating to drive in. Like the amount of accidents that I've been in, seen happen just from like icy roads and snow. Put me on a beach with a pina colada. I'll be there. I will not be in a cabin with a hot chocolate. No thanks. I like the snow. I like the views. I like the nature, but I dislike driving in it. And you got to drive to get there. So that's not happening.
All right. Round number 6, CD, vinyl, or digital download?
Ooh. Behind me, can't really see it. I have a pretty diverse vinyl collection going for me right now. Personally, I think vinyl is a very good collection item. I've heard that people buy 2 vinyls from bands at merch booths because they want one to play and one to collect. So I'm going to have to say vinyl because I feel like it's the Pokemon card of music. Like you have all these different bands, you can collect, pieces of the music that you can play, you can listen to it. I'm not really a huge, like, I'm never going to open this kind of person. Like I have a few that I've unopened, but it's usually because I bought 2, one to listen to, one to like keep. But I'm gonna have to say vinyl because it's kind of in the middle of CD and vinyl because they're both physical copies of music. Like I'll do you one better. Next time you ask this question to somebody, throw cassette tapes in there. Because I have a very large collection of cassette tapes and VHSs and whatever. I just think it all has a different sound. I'm a nerd. I'm a musician, so I'm a very big audio nerd. So it all kind of sounds a little different to me. If digital downloads make you happy, then that's cool. But personally, vinyl, nothing beats that. It's just that feeling of pulling it out, putting it on like a pancake and letting it go. Like it's amazing. It's a good feeling.
Round number 7, hamburger or pizza?
Yeah. I'm gonna go with hamburger. I'm lactose intolerant, so I can eat a lot more hamburgers without consequence than I can eat pizza. So I'm gonna go with hamburger.
Oh man, you don't have like a good vegan pizza joint in Vegas?
Listen, when you're lactose intolerant and it's not like a super big problem for me, it's like I can take a dairy pill and eat a whole tub of ice cream and forget about it the next day. So with pizza, like I love pizza. I could eat pizza a lot, like kind of disturbingly a lot. But with hamburgers, it's like hamburgers are good, man. Like that's American as heck, man. Oh, caught it. American as heck. Quote me on that.
T-shirt. All right, round number 8, fly or drive?
Ooh, fly for the fun, drive for the memories. I'm gonna have to go with drive. Driving is fun. Like if you really have the money to drive cross country, do it. It's fun. You never know what you're gonna see on the road. On a plane, you're there for, I think a flight from here to Florida is like 3.5 hours, 4 hours. But then, you get 3 days to drive and just see the whole country. And there's so much more you can see from a car on the ground than you can see from a plane. But I do love flying. So I'm going to have to go with drive for the memories.
All right. Round number 9, Waffle House or Denny's?
You're talking to somebody who grew up in Florida. Waffle House, dude. Yeah. Waffle House 150%. Denny's doesn't even come into question when a peanut butter Waffle House waffle is in the picture. Like, not even close. No further comment.
And I heard this a while back. Hopefully it's changed by then. I interviewed a band from Las Vegas called Take. And John was telling me that there's no Waffle Houses in Vegas.
There's no Waffle Houses over here, dude. We're like in a famine because of this. Like it's bad. Like we went to Texas last year to record our EP Drown with Matt Nevesky of Blue October at his studio, Ord Studios, and we before that actually recorded our single I Need More with Chet Roberts of Three Doors Down and Greg Upchurch, and they live in Nashville. So when we went to Nashville, I took our band to all of my favorite Southern spots. We went to Zaxby's, we went to a Waffle House, we went to, Whataburger and all these different places. And I remember Waffle House we went to like 4 or 5 times. When we went to Austin, there's no Waffle House in Austin. It's like maybe 45 minutes outside of Austin, but we took the rental car. We went out to Waffle House because it was important that it was a very crucial stop on the trip. So Waffle House for sure.
All right. And the grand finale of 10 Rounds with Mikey O. Round number 10, Mohawk or mullet?
Bring the mullets back, man. Bring them back. Bring the mullets back. There's never enough bullets for all the mullets.
Far too often people are scared to pull the trigger on the mullet.
Never enough bullets for mullets, man.
You won't be. I mean, you would be surprised how many people I can see it in their eyes when they get to round number 10. They want to say mullet, but they say mohawk.
Mohawks are cool. I had one when I was like 5 years old. I was this tiny little kid with a mohawk, and I thought it was awesome. And I see some gnarly faux hawk mohawks at, punk shows and underground metal shows, and I think they're awesome. But I feel like when I see a mullet, I instantly think of Crossfade and Creed. Like immediately I get excited. I get really excited.
It feels like home.
It really does. My girlfriend of 2 years, like right when I met her, she had really, really long hair. And then she just one day was like, I want to get a mullet. I'm going to cut my hair into a mullet. Dude, Whoa. She hated it. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. It was the best.
Yes. Did that thing ever catch the wind and just like start flapping in the wind?
You don't even know, bro. Oh, you don't even know. It was amazing.
Yes. Oh my God. Speaking of amazing, you guys got a brand new single out.
Yes, we do.
It is called Warrior. It dropped earlier this month. What is this song about?
Oh boy. So this this song, I wrote it, I believe around this time last year. I was, entering 2024, and I was, I went to school for a full-time, or there was like a full-time school thing where I was going to get a degree in audio production. And I did get that degree. And I just recently got my degree in digital marketing, which is the last of my schooling that I'm going to be doing. Now I'm full-time split persona all the time, which is awesome. But pretty much it was all the time, split persona all the time before. And I just didn't feel like I was using all my time. Like I felt like since I was doing online school and they were helping me take care of groceries and rent and all that kind of stuff, I was just kind of sitting at home, not really doing anything. I wasn't motivated to get out of bed. I wasn't motivated to go out. I was just kind of motivated to sit around and do nothing. And I started I hate to say that I went down like the toxic YouTube rabbit hole of like all the motivational speakers of like, don't stop till you're finished. Don't stop till you're done. I hate to say it kind of worked. Like it kind of got me out of bed. It made me a little motivated. And then I kind of got a little obsessed with the Navy SEALs for a little bit, where I was kind of reading all these books about, how Navy SEALs trained and how they discipline themselves, and kind of tried to do this new, like wake up at 5:30 in the morning, go to the gym, and do this new like Navy SEAL schedule. And it just kind of sucked. It was kind of miserable. And I took every part that I learned from that and applied it to my daily routine. And I felt so much better. Like for a while, it kind of felt like I was a little bit kind of chokeholded in a prison. I was holding myself to really, really high expectations. And the worst part is I was holding people around me to high expectations, which isn't fair, especially when you're trying to lead a group, not, discipline a group. I don't think that's fair. So after all, I learned all these things. I learned that, you do have to get up and do what you want to do. You should be passionate about what you are doing. It shouldn't be something that's like, oh, I got, we have to post this later, or we have to, if I want to get my business started, I got to make a website. I'll do it tomorrow. It's like, it should be exciting. It should be fun. So after I learned all that stuff, I wrote Warrior about finding that inner werewolf, you know, that's so silly. It's like those memes of the guy like, but you know, like you find your inner warrior, you find it so you can pursue what you want to do. So in the lyrics of the song, that's all I'm talking about. I mean, pick up your hands and fight, because no one's going to do it for you. That's the chorus. And, you know, you spend your entire life just waiting for it to happen. It's not going to happen. You have to get up and you got to go. So that's what Warrior is about. And at the end, I do this super gnarly low scream, which has never been done in Split Persona's music before. But I used that knowledge of getting up and fighting for what I love and what I believe in, and learned how to do it, and really put a lot of time into my voice and my vocals. And that was pretty much all of 2024. Besides moving to Vegas, all I did was practice singing, practice screaming, to try to get better at it, because I feel like if I'm going to be the vocalist of this band and I want this band to go somewhere, I better be a really good vocalist, aka the best vocalist for this band. So I, you know, this is the first song where I kind of experimented with that lower screaming range and higher singing range. I think the highest song I sing is Drown. So it's, you know, I wanted to top that a little bit. And we don't have a really like obnoxiously heavy song yet. You know, we have all these songs where we're like Hypo, where we like hint at it a little bit and we're like, hey, you know, we can do this. Or Pray, where, you know, most of the song is just very, you know, light and singy and catchy and whatever. And then at the end, it's like, rah, and it goes to this big part. Warrior is just all the way through, just punching you in the jaw the entire time. And I think it's good, because it better be. It's a song with a message about motivation and getting you out of bed and doing what you love, and never letting doom scrolling or any of that silly stuff stop you. You know, if you want to start going to the gym and you're working out, getting built like our guitar player Brogan, who's ripped, then do it. This should be your lifting song. You know, this is right when that breakdown hits. You should be, you know, hitting new maxes and everything. So yeah, that's kind of what Warrior is about. And it was just a fun song to write, because when I started writing it, I kind of made it a parody a little bit, where I was just like, I'm just going to write something so heavy that I know we can't use it. And I ended up thinking, oh my God, this is actually kind of good. Like, I have a video on my phone of me laughing about it and thinking it's hilarious. Like, I wrote the breakdown first, and then since the breakdown was so good and I loved it so much, I took like an entire day of not doing anything until I had a main riff that was just as good, if not a little close to as good as the breakdown. So I put a lot of work into that song. And the best part is that I played drums on it as well. And I'm not primarily a drummer. I play drums on Hypo as well. We had a drummer play on 2 tracks on this album. Not yet. Anyway, move on from that. Pretty much I played drums on a lot of it because his availability wasn't the same as mine. I was there at the studio in Wichita, Kansas, where we recorded it longer than he was, and he wasn't able to do it, and granted me the permission to be able to do it. And just to save time, you know, with how much we had in the studio. And Warrior was the one I was kind of crapping my pants about a little bit, because, you know, at the end, there's so many double kicks and crazy things that I'm not that type of drummer. I usually just play like songs like Hypo, where I'm just kind of Taylor Hawkinsing my way through the entire song. And then something like Warrior hits, and I'm like, I'm not Mike Portnoy or Connor Dennis. I can't do this. This is impossible. And it took me a lot of takes to be able to do it. But then I kind of walked out of that recording room like a warrior. I was like, no way, I did it. So yeah, that's pretty much what Warrior's about, and many more unnecessary details that I probably didn't need to put in there. But yeah.
Here it is. It is Warrior, the brand new single from the band Split Persona on Indie Rage Radio.
Yes.
All right. Very cool. Segment 2, we're going to talk more about the band.
Cool.
All right. Well, I got like a little alfalfa going on here or something.
Oh, me too, dude. I got like one poof. There we go. Get it up a little bit.
All right. Segment 2 in 3, 2, 1. Indie Rage Radio, IndieRageRadio.com. We are back with Zander, the lead band for the Las Vegas, Nevada band Split Persona. Look, Zander, if they just tuned in right now, where can the folks find your band on the internet?
Pretty much everywhere, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure we have a Pinterest. So if you're, if you're pinning stuff, I'm pretty sure we have a page on there, but you can find us on every streaming platform that you know about: Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer. I'm pretty sure we're even on Napster. I don't think Lars Ulrich would like that, but we're on there. And we're also on Instagram. That's like our main platform where we post the most stuff and interact with our fans. We have a subscription program. So if you want to support us, you can subscribe to us for like, I think $5 a month, which is like one Starbucks coffee a month. We were talking about coffee earlier. So if you want to support a band instead, you can do that. You get some exclusive content from us. But we also have, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. That's where all our music videos are and all that. And yeah, we're pretty much on everything else.
All right, so let's talk about the humble beginnings of Split Persona. So you guys formed back in 2019, and the main goal then was to win the high school battle of the bands.
That is correct. That is a true statement. I had moved to Reno that year. I moved from Truckee, California, and I really didn't know anybody yet. I didn't know there was even a music scene there. I had been playing music for about 5 years at that point, and I really just started asking people at my school. I ended up going to Innovations High School in Reno, Nevada, and Innovations was a big picture learning school, which was like very talent focused, where everybody there would be, pursuing music, and academics would kind of come later, and they would help you with your academics. Basically, yeah, it was like Wizards of Waverly Place, but for musicians, or I guess Victorious for musicians and musicians.
I was racking my brain because I remember my daughter watching this show about these kids, and they were acting and musicians and all that. Yeah, Victorious, yes.
I basically went to that school. It was basically the same thing. And when I got there, I was just like, who could I jam with? I was asking all these people, and we had every Friday was something called Kickout, and Kickout would basically be like, show off whatever you learned that week or whatever you want, basically. So it was like, some people did acting skits, rarely. We had a couple actors and actresses at our school, but not many. Most of the people there were doing music projects. Like, they were doing acoustic covers, full band covers, or anything. So I just kind of put myself out there and played to a backing track of, I think it was Muse's Plug-in Baby, if I'm very specific. But anyway, yeah, I played that. And a lot of people came up to me after and were like, hey, we should jam and we should form a band, or, this and this and that. I'm like, all right, cool. And after that, I kind of got more involved with the jamming scene and music scene in Reno. I started going to shows at our local venues like Holland Project, and at the time Cargo, and just meeting more people and networking. And every drummer that I would see, I was looking for a drummer. So every drummer I would see, I would just go around and ask. And I joined a couple bands in Reno before Split actually formed. And Split kind of formed out of one of the bones of another band that broke up. And yeah, our bass player hit us up and was like, hey, I can get us a guitar player and we can play our Battle of the Bands as a good start. He was our first bass player in the band. Is not with us anymore, but he hooked us up, and he was going to school at Spanish Springs High School at the time. He was like, yeah, we should go play this Battle of the Bands. This should be our first show. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I think it was funny because he was like, maybe instead of playing this other music, we should play some of your music and see what happens. And that was the first EP of Split Persona. So like songs like Strawberries, Keep It, Stay Away, we played all those songs live. And the only two original members that are left in the band are me and Brogan, surprisingly. But we played that Battle of the Bands. We didn't expect anything. We got a lot of dirty looks when we played this thing. We played like right before an intermission. So we all go out and we see everybody, and they're all like, what the heck just happened? And a lot of people, like, it was a good positive response. And then there was a like smallest percentage of people that were just like, ew, dude, like, what is this? And what's funny is we walked out the winners of that Battle of the Bands. We didn't think anything of it. Like, they were like Subliminal, because that was our first band name before Split Persona. So I'll just say Split Persona. But they were like Split Persona. And we were like, okay, cool. Awesome. This is sick. And right after that, our second gig ever was playing the legendary Whiskey A Go-Go in Los Angeles.
Wow.
For 5 people. And it was amazingly bad. I hope that video doesn't exist anymore on the internet.
But I bet an amazing experience.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was just bad because we were terrible, but it was great to play there and see the history of the building, like be in the green room where like Jim Morrison was and David Lee Roth. Like it was crazy. And it was a very good bonding trip to do an out of towner as your second show ever, especially because I was 16 at the time, I think, when we did that show. So yeah, the band started when I was 15, which I think is insane. I'm 21 now. So it's been going about 6 years.
So was that like one of the prizes that you got, or you guys booked that show on your own?
No, that was something I booked on my own. Like I think it's funny. I booked it before we even did Battle of the Bands. Like I emailed Whiskey Go. I was like, I got this new band that we would love to play a show at the legendary Whiskey Go Go, and they were like, okay, cool. Here's your date. This is what you're playing. You're playing with the band Kingdom Come. Come down and play with us. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then after we did Battle of the Bands, I just go up to the band that we were playing with at the time, and I was just like, you guys want to go to Los Angeles next month and go play Whiskey Go Go? And they were like, oh, dang, yeah. Everybody was super excited. It was a fun time, man. Good times in high school.
Nice. And then from those humble beginnings, man, well, I tell you what, the ride's been pretty crazy, man. I mean, you kind of alluded to it in the beginning of the hour. You guys collaborated with some of the dudes from Three Doors Down. How did that come to pass?
That's a very funny story, and it's very long, so I'll keep it very short. So I saw Three Doors Down playing Reno in, I think it was 2016. I had no band. I just started playing guitar just around that time. I think I started playing in 2015. So I was still kind of a newbie to playing at all. But my obsession and the reason I started playing was Eddie Van Halen. Like everything. Once my dad showed me Eruption and I started playing it on Guitar Hero, and I was like, I could figure this out. I could probably play Eruption like in a year or so. I asked my uncle, who collects guitars, if he could send me one to play with, or like bring it over to me, because I lived in Florida at the time. And he was like, sure. And he was like, any particular like reason that you want to play? And I'm like, well, I want to play Eruption. I want to play Eddie Van Halen. He's like, oh, don't we all? I will bring one over for you to play with a whammy bar so you could do dive bombs and cool stuff like Eddie Van Halen. And I don't think he even thought that I would do anything with that. I think he was just like, this is just going to be another phase of his like video game creation, or, being a doctor or something, silly. I don't think he's ever going to do anything. And here I am. So I think that's very funny. But anyways, I started playing guitar. All I was playing was Van Halen. I was at this Three Doors Down concert, and I put up a sign with my phone that said, can I play Eruption on stage? Not a Van Halen concert. It's a Three Doors Down concert. Don't know why I asked. But Chet, their guitar player, was watching me do that. And he came over to me and was like, I can't let you up on stage. However, please keep doing what you're doing and keep playing. If you can play Eruption, you can play anything. Keep playing. And that was like first ever interaction with any rock stars, musicians, whatever you want to call them, that I ever had. So it was super special to me. And he gave me his like red wristband that he was wearing, his like sweatband, couple picks. He went over to Greg and grabbed a drumstick for me. It was just such like a Southern comfort experience to meet him. And that was like during the show. Like it was like between songs that this dude took the time out of his, set and his, all this, now that I'm a musician, I understand, but he took the time, and that's what inspires me to do that kind of stuff during shows. But anyway, years pass, we're in 2021 now, and the Three Doors Down is coming back to Reno, and they're playing a way bigger venue this time. And my dad just out of random messages Chet on Facebook. He's like, hey, you remember my son? And like sends him the pictures that I took and the wristband and whatever. And he was like, and my dad's like, he's got a band now. Check him out. And it's like the first EP. Like that's all we had released at the time. And Chet responded. And he was like, yo, yeah, I remember this kid. This is awesome. I love the music. And I'm like, what is happening? Like my dad calls me. He's like, Chet wants to meet you before the show. And I'm like, no, like that's not that you're lying. We go to this, big resort. And we sit down. My dad's like, Chet's supposed to be here. In comes walking this dude with a mohawk. It's Chet Roberts, Three Doors Down. Comes, sits at the table, pulls up a chair. He's like, yeah, I got a studio in Nashville. It's in this like barn. Do you want to come out and record something sometime? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds rad. I'll figure out all the plane tickets and how to pay for this later. Let's do this. And that's kind of how it happened. He was just like, send me some demos. We went back and forth for like a couple months. And I think the concert was in August, and we ended up getting out there on Christmas Day. Like, we flew out from Reno to Nashville on Christmas Day, and we ended up recording like right after New Year's. Or like, no, it was like the day after Christmas we started recording. And he really liked I Need More. Like, I just kind of, Brogan came up with the riff. I put the chorus together and the breakdown and whatever. And I really liked the song. I didn't know if Chet would, so I sent him a bunch of different stuff that actually ended up making it on this, a couple of these next releases that we're about to put out. But anyway, I sent him I Need More. He really liked it. We picked that song to run into pre-production. We go out there, and he's like, well, our drummer, by the way, at the time, came out there with us, and we get there, and he's like, by the way, Greg Upchurch wants to play drums on it. And we're like, and our drummer's like, let him do it. Let him do it. Let's see what happens. And Greg nailed that song in like 2 takes. And then we go outside, and he's just like, this is a really good song, man. Like, this is really good stuff that you're doing. And we had a lot of good times, you know, talking with Chet and kind of bonding with him over those 2 days of us recording that single. And he was just such a pleasure to be around. I would love to see him again. I mean, I've heard they're on tour with Creed now, like just doing big things. And I just love to see them continue to do what they do, you know, do what they love. And I'm hoping one day we can get the feature of Chet Roberts on stage with us doing that song, because he's actually the voice in the song that says, let's do shots.
Nice.
Yeah. There's a part in the song that's like, you know, let's do shots. And there's a let's do shots. That's Chet Roberts, who just was like, we should do like a Billy Gibbons rock star thing. And I'll go in the booth and I'll do let's do shots. And that was Chet. So that was insane, especially because we were only like 2 years old as a band. Like, we were infants, and that just being able to do that and get that professional kind of like, I don't know, mentorship when it comes to recording and how songs are made, how professional music is mixed and mastered and released, insanely helpful. So that was incredible. That's the story and the kind of long version.
Yeah. And then you guys get in the top 3 of Danny Weimer Presents Battle for the Big Stage.
That was a fun time. That was a really fun time. Yeah. That was all on demos too. Like, that was on stuff we hadn't even released yet. They were doing this Twitch live stream thing. My dad's like, you got to get on Danny Weimer festivals. We got to get Danny Weimer's attention. We have to. And he's still like that. Like, I'll meet up with him for lunch. He's like, heard anything from DWP? Like, and it's like, no, I haven't, dude. I don't think they're watching yet. I mean, they were watching us, you know, continue to go up the ranks. We were beating really good bands. So we kind of were like, something's wrong. You know, maybe this thing is rigged and they just really want us to win or something. We didn't end up winning, so it wasn't rigged. But we just kind of did our thing and kept giving them songs to play. And I kept pumping out these visualizers on my computer just so we had something to show on the screen. And we just kept winning the vote. It kept going up the ranks. And I think it was out of 127 worldwide bands. And we actually got so close. And this was just for Aftershock Festival. For the other festivals, we submitted. We just didn't get nearly as high. Like, for Aftershock, we really I think we had like 3,000 followers at the time. Like, we were still very, very new, which was a lot for us. So we were calling on everybody to get on this Twitch live stream and vote for us. And it worked. And we got up to 3rd place, and we got to the final round, which was like a live performance. And we played Do It Again. We played Drown. I don't think we played Drown because that was too long of a song, but we played Do It Again. We played Lies. We played a bunch of unreleased stuff and got snaked last second. I think we lost to like 1 or 2 votes, which was crazy. So it was like we got like 150 something votes, and then it was like 156, and then we were like, all right, we're done. And I remember doing the live stream and being like, we invited an audience to come out and watch, like, for free. We were like, we're gonna do this free show. We're gonna rent out this venue. Everybody come by and watch us maybe win this competition, but everybody, before you even can come in, get on Twitch and register and be on the live stream so you can vote. And dude, after we lost, like, there was this like pin drop silence in the room. Everybody was like, oh man, the lead singer's going to cry. I think he's going to cry. Because I'm like on my hands and knees praying for us to win this thing or at least get second place or something like that. And we just got third. We got snubbed last second. And I look around at all the people that showed up, and it was like maybe 30 people that came out to support us. And I was like, let's jam. To everybody turn the live stream off. Let's go nuts. And we just played for like an hour and a half and just went nuts for like 30 people, which was awesome. It was such a good experience. And I would totally do it again. I don't know if the Space Zebra show is a thing anymore. I haven't seen him do live streams or, you know, any of these contests or anything like that in a while, but it was a very fun experience. It was a very cool competition. And we met a lot of really good bands on the way there. Like other bands we competed with, we've played with since, like Red Star we played with, I think a couple months ago. They were like the one that was wiping everybody out, like including us. Like I remember going up against Red Star. I was like, nope, we're going to lose. And we did. And I was like, dang. And it just kind of came full circle a couple of years later. I mean, you know, Foreign Affairs, another band. There's a bunch of different ones. Dead Echo out of Arizona. You know, there's a million different bands that we met along the way. And I think that was the message. I don't think it was, you know, who's going to take home the throne and play Aftershock Festival or, you know, Welcome to Rockville. I think it was really, let's put these bands in a room and see who can network with each other and do their own thing. And Red Star since then has played Aftershock Festival, and we've went on tour, you know, and met them and all these different things. So I think that was the main takeaway. It was the connections and friendships we made along the way, the, you know, friendly competition of being like, oh, our music's actually not so bad. It's pretty good. It's winning a competition. That's pretty great. And just, you know, gaining some more fans and gaining some more people that watched us go. And they were like, man, they shouldn't have lost, or man, these guys were really good. I'm going to listen to them. And it was really fun. It was awesome.
So up next, we're going to play the song that is the title track from your EP, Drown. It's available everywhere where you consume music. Let's talk about Drown. What's the song about?
Okay, so this one, I'm going to say this every time. I'm going to try to keep this short. I'm a very long talker, as you can tell. Drown, I wrote and I'm just going to read it right from the press release in my head. I wrote Drown right at the heart of the pandemic. Like it had just really opened up. And by opened up, I mean everything shut down. Like the pandemic itself spread everywhere. And I was just at home a lot. I mean, everybody was super lonely and kind of depressed. I was living with my parents at the time, and I was in, I think, junior year of high school. So when everything shut down, the more time I had to kind of write, the more I did. And all I did was write music. I wrote a bunch of stuff that, you know, we ended up finishing Lives, Drown, Pray was kind of written near the end. It was like a lot of really good stuff was written around that time. And Drown was kind of the emotional climax of everything, where I was in a very messed up relationship at the time in high school. And you know how that goes. Toxic high school relationships, very fun. And the person I was dating lived 4.5 hours away. So there was no driving across country, you know, driving across the state to be able to see this person. And, you know, when I wrote those lyrics, I was in a pretty dark place myself, not really having much confidence in the relationship, because I think at the time we were on this like relationship break. I think one day she was just like, I don't want to date you temporarily. I just want to hold you on the thread for a little bit while I get myself together, and maybe we'll revisit this another time. So I was just like a very confused adolescent boy, and I had no idea what was going on, and I was very emotional. I cried a lot. And when I wrote Drown, I cried hard. Like those lyrics in that chorus are probably the deepest thing I've written as of yet, because of how much emotion was literally like tears on the paper, Taylor Swift style, scary, you know. And yeah, that's what Drown's about. Drown is just about that feeling that you get when you feel like you're suffocating and you don't really have anybody that you're confident that will jump in and save you. You don't really know if, you know, it's not really a for sure thing. Like you're drowning and you're just questioning everything. Like, is anybody going to save me? Is anybody going to help me swim back to the top? Is this a sink or swim kind of world? Or is this like a world where I can be helped and trust that I'll be helped? So it was a very emotionally confusing song because of how confused I was, because, you know, most of the verses go into like my relationship of how much I loved this person, how much I missed their hugs and their kisses and all that kind of stuff. And then you get to the chorus and it's like, you're pushing me down, you're pulling me up. I don't know where I am. I'm very confused about my emotions, and it just sucks. It all sucked. As much as the good times felt like good times, they were all bad. And that's because the whole time I was confused. So Drown's kind of just about that emotional suffocation, if you will. It's a very deep one, and it's very long. It's like our Bohemian Rhapsody.
Here it is. It is Drowned from Split Persona on Indie Rage Radio. All right, very cool. So segment 3 kicks off hour number 2, and it's kind of like if somebody's flying to your town type thing, what restaurant would you recommend, what venue, and what entertainment type thing, which should be easy from Las Vegas.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I moved here in June, so we'll see if I'm savvy on all the spots that I've been to.
All right, here we go. Segment 3 in 3, 2, 1. Indie Rage Radio, IndieRageRadio.com, kicking off hour number 2 with Zander. He's the lead man for the Las Vegas band Split Persona. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, X, YouTube, and of course, their EP Drown is available everywhere where you consume music. So, speaking of Las Vegas, everybody's hopping on the Spirit airline. We're getting in there before they actually go out of business. Okay.
Yes.
For that cheap flight. We're flying to Vegas. We're there for the weekend. Zander, what is one restaurant we got to go eat at?
I think it's funny because we did the pizza question earlier, but I have a very interesting pizza place that I would like to shout out. It's called Splice. Mm-hmm. And if you're like an old school horror fan, Splice is the spot. Like, we're talking, the pizza crust itself is black. Every pizza crust is black. And okay. I don't know how they dye it. I don't know if it's like squid ink or, if they do it with like food coloring, but all the crust is completely black. But all the pizzas they have are based on movie monsters. They have the Jigsaw pizza. They have the Pennywise pizza with like Mike's Hot Honey on it. Me and my girlfriend went and we got, I don't know if it was the Jigsaw or the Pennywise, but there was one pizza where they put French fries on the pizza and buffalo chicken and ranch.
Yes.
So good. Yes. So good. If you go there, I think it's funny. It's right next to a very scary place that you can go. It's called the Saw Escape Room. It's right next to it. It's next to the Saw Escape Room and the Blair Witch Escape Room. These are the best escape rooms I've ever done in my life. They're very immersive. They're very scary. I took my mom. She almost cried during the Blair Witch experience. But they also do, I'm a huge fan of Stephen King's It. Like, oh man, I read it in 8th grade. I loved every page of those, 100 million pages that are in that book. But they all are very, very immersive. I was giggling like a child during the entire time. But Splice Pizza is right kind of in the middle of all of that. So if you can make it out to Splice Pizza, if you really want some good sliced pizza, because the pizza is delicious, but it also looks cool. I think that's something I don't look for often in food, but when I see it, I'm like, yes, this is awesome.
Did you hear that the director for Blair Witch Project is releasing a more scarier version of the first film?
No, I did not. That makes me really excited because me and my girlfriend, when we went to the Blair Witch experience, we immediately went home and rewatched the Blair Witch movies. And I forgot how scary they were. They're really creepy. I was like kind of on the edge of my seat the entire time. I remember it being kind of silly when I first watched it as a kid because I was like, oh, this is just some found footage. They don't even show it. And then I watched it as an adult. And I'm like, I would be crapping myself if I was in their position, lost the map, stuck in the forest with a scary witch. Like, no way.
Yeah. And they did a great job leading up to that because they had like several specials that looked like real news. Like, I don't even know, not news, but like, real programs documenting what actually happened to these kids. So many people went to that movie and they thought, man, this could be real. It was crazy.
We did a Blair Witch parody for our release of Prey. I came up with this video idea for our first ever music video where we self-filmed everything, edited everything ourselves, did all the props and everything, where I said, I think our bass player at the time was like, it should be a horror video. Like, we should do a horror movie parody or something like that. And I was like, no, mess with that. Let's do a doppelganger video where a doppelganger pandemic is unleashed upon the world. There's a bunch of different people that look, but they're evil, you know, and they want to replace you. They want to get you and replace you. So we did a video where a doppelganger version of me goes around and kills every member of the band, including me. So we filmed that whole thing. And then I was like, let's be experimental with how we release this. So I researched like really very, very cool like marketing campaigns, and Blair Witch was like the top, where they sold like these missing posters and all this crazy stuff. And I was like, let's do missing posters. That would be fun. Let's make the entire city think we went missing. And, you know, let's do it. And I did a first draft of it, and it looked so real. Like it had our picture, like of all of us, like, you know, hey, you know, hanging out. And it was like missing. Call the cops if you see these people in public. Like it was very realistic. And I think our marketing manager at the time was like, this is not going to go well. Like you guys are going to get in trouble for this. So we changed it to where like you would see it and it was like missing split persona, not individual members. It was just like missing split persona. And it was a picture of us. And in the fine print, it was like, you know, it was like super jokey and not serious. Like it was easily given away that it wasn't real. And the QR code and so there was a number on it. And I rented a phone number where I put a voicemail of like a really creepy voice being like, you have become my prey. Like it was like super creepy, you know, split persona is going to be missing forever. Like it was just super dumb, but people liked it, and people also didn't like it. There was a good amount of people that really thought it was hilarious, and they were like, oh, I'm going to grab this poster off and I'm going to put it in my room and save it forever. This is awesome. And then there was like a good amount of people, like a surprisingly good amount of people that were like, hey, don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that. That's super bad. And then we didn't get canceled for it. So I think maybe biggest little city, you know, and it just really didn't really mess with people that much, mainly because we were all kind of like, no, it's a joke. Did you read the poster? And then they read the poster and they're like, oh, screw you, man. Like, so yeah, we did that. That was real fun.
Well, I'm glad it turned out for you.
Yeah, me too.
So we got some fire pizza. We want to go to a venue where we can get some local Las Vegas flair, because we know other the big traveling bands come through Vegas. We know we can go to a casino and go see Celine Dion if we want to. Yes. But we want to go to a local spot that we're stacked in there like sardines. We're sweating on each other, and we're listening to some rock and metal.
So there was a place right when we moved here that was that spot, and that place was called Synwave. And right now they are dealing with some weird ownership problems, and they're temporarily closed until they can find it like an investor or somebody to do that and help them continue operating Synwave. But we already played 2 shows there right before, you know, in that window right before they closed. And that was the place to go. I would have to ask our drummer, David, who's lived here his whole life, like what that venue is. But out of the ones I've been to, there's a place called Smokey's Barbecue or like something like that. I'll have to double take and check on that, because like I said, just moved here. So I'm just now getting like pulled into the music scene. But there's this, you know, backstage like Smokey's Barbecue place where you can get barbecue food and you can watch local bands play, which I think is super rad. There is a place we're playing in a month that I think really fits that description of like a bunch of sweaty people in one building. It's a boxing ring. It's a boxing gym that just opened up as a music venue. Like nice. Bands show up, they get in the ring and they set their instruments up and play in the ring, and the crowd's around the ring.
Dope.
So dope. Yeah, so dope. So I honestly, either that boxing gym or Smoke Barbecue Pit. I think that's what it's called. Smokey's Barbecue Pit, something like that.
Yeah, you know, we were talking about John. He lives in Las Vegas. A while ago, hour number 1 or off the air, I can't remember. However, he sent me a video one time of like this like impromptu metal show at like a IHOP in Vegas.
Oh, what?
Yeah, like the manager was like, I didn't even tell my boss that I booked this show, and it was like in a restaurant, and it was like all these metal kids surrounding all these old people trying to eat pancakes. It was amazing.
They need to really like cash in on that market. Denny's, IHOP, like Denny's out of all of them has the "What's Up Denny's" meme. They need to they need to do some sort of contest or something for every like big city in America where it's like, you know, they do a battle of the bands or something like that, and then your band gets to play at Denny's.
Yes.
That would be amazing. Please do
Yes.
it. If you're listening, Denny's, we want it. Please do it for us.
And a free All-Star special.
That's it. Free Grand Slam.
Is that what it is over there? Is it the Grand Slam? Is the All-Star one, or am I thinking somewhere else?
I'm not sure. I just know that Denny's has a Grand Slam. I usually go there like twice a year, and it's usually after a show at 4 a.m, or, you know, when we're on the road or something like that. I think it's a Grand Slam.
Yeah. So we got some great pizza. We sweated our balls off at the venue.
Yes.
So we want to end the trip at somewhere entertainish, whether that's an arcade, whether that's go-karts. What's Vegas got to offer?
Well, I'll say that I just recently, being, you know, a recently new local, I just went to Circus Adventure Dome, and I gotta say, the roller coasters there really beat the crap out of you. So if you want to walk out with a headache, you can go to Adventure Dome and spend probably too much money on some cheap hot dogs and roller coasters that'll make you throw them up. But honestly, the Pinball Museum, that's a really good place to start. You just go there and play pinball. There's a million different pinball machines. You can just pick one and go and just play for hours. I haven't really explored a lot of local places, but I'm a huge fan of Dave & Buster's. I will always love Dave & Buster's. I grew up going to Dave & Buster's, and now I'm 21. I get to drink and play arcade games. You lost me there. That's where I'm at. So honestly, I feel like we need to do an interview like from a year from today and catch up and see, you know, how these answers have changed. But as of now, I'm going to say Dave & Buster's or the Pinball Museum. I'm a big video game guy, so I love old school like Pac-Man and Millipede and Donkey Kong. Like you throw me in a place with that. I believe they have a couple places here, like bars, that have those arcade cabinets in them. I think there's one called like Press Start or like Ready Player One or like Ready Up or something like that. There's a couple bars here that have that, and I haven't visited them yet, but I'm gonna have to now that I've mentioned it.
Mm-hmm. You know, we went to Dave & Buster's probably 3 months ago, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna get these cards for these kids. They're gonna go play these games, and I'm just gonna sit here and watch the Saints game.
Yeah,
and they were back like in 4 minutes. I was like, why aren't you playing games? We're out of money, Dad. What?
It goes quick.
Oh,
it goes really quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna use the word you used earlier. I was flabbergasted.
That's it. That's the word of the day.
All right, so the next song we're gonna play is Lies. What's this song about?
Lies is a song exactly about what you think it is. It's about deception. It's about lying. It's about it's really another relationship one. You know, I was in a lot of weird kind of one-off relationships throughout high school, but they taught me a lot about where I am today, especially with the girlfriend that I intend to marry, hopefully, if, you know, all goes well. But I'm just saying, Lies is that song that you listen to after a breakup that makes you get back out there again and get in the dating scene again. Because like, it's that song of like, get this person away from me. I do not need to be hung up on this person anymore. I need to get out there and be myself and find somebody that appreciates me for who I am. Lies is that song. I mean, I wrote the lyrics when I was in high school, so they were kind of a little dodgy. So by the time we went to the studio, we refined and went back and, you know, fixed everything as a band, made it a lot more, cohesive, I guess. And I think it's funny. There's a word in there that it doesn't exist. Unconceivable. It's supposed to be inconceivable, but I very much wanted to say unconceivable just because I thought that was really funny and I thought no one would notice and I wouldn't tell anybody, but here I am spouting it on the radio. But yeah, no, I say inconceivable, which is not a word. I Kanye'd my way through that song and made up my own words. But yeah, it's all about deception, being with somebody that is manipulating you and you have no idea, being with somebody that you thought you could trust, but they're just going behind your back, pulling a bunch of stuff on you, and it's just not good. So I wrote that song about that. And the chorus is about coming to power after that, you know, reflecting on it and going, you know, people are watching me as I crawl into command and I'm not going to sink anymore. I'm going to continue to rise out of this and, gain better awareness when I'm talking to people and not be so trustworthy. The world is very small to be trustworthy with everybody. You gotta have your own process of welcoming people in and, your own little mind initiation of like, is this person cool? Is this person like me? Do I like them? What's going on? And I think Lies kind of just illustrates the worst side of that, of like, you got really unlucky and got somebody who really wants you to think that they're your friend, but they are not. There you go.
Here it is. It is Lies from Split Persona on Indie Rage Radio.
Heck yeah.
All right. Segment 4 is at the end of the show.
Cool.
So we're going to end the show with hypo. And
Yay.
like, we're kind of like up against the clock type thing. So we're just tying a bow on everything.
Cool. I'll keep it quick.
All right, here we go. Segment 4 in 3, 2, 1. Indie Rage Radio, IndieRageRadio.com. I say it every week. Sadly, we are here. It's the final segment of the show. We only have a 2-hour block on this radio station, so it's got to end at some point, which is usually around the 2-hour mark.
I'm sad. I'm really sad.
We are joined by Zander. He is the lead man for the band Split Persona. You can find them everywhere on the internet. Man, I don't know how you have time to do a band and all these social medias. Facebook,
I don't either.
Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, X, YouTube, and of course, their Drown EP is available everywhere where you consume music.
Correct.
All right,
Monday.
so let's talk about the future of Split Persona, because I think you got a tour coming up this year, huh?
We're trying to plan one. Like, it's really hard for an independent band to plan their own tour and have, we're still trying to get like more monthly listeners so we can see the data of like where we could go and maybe expect a person to show up. Because our first tour that we ever did, we just booked empty rooms. We had a booking agent that was like, we're just going to book you empty rooms. And he didn't tell us at all until the week before we were supposed to leave. So we thought we were going to do this tour and we were going to be playing with bands every night. No, we had to book every band to play with. And on last minute, you can't really get a lot of bands that people know. You get a lot of bands that are very, very cool people, very, very good bands, very good musicians, but they're in the same position we are, where no one really knows who we are or who they are. So we did that tour. We sucked it up. We were like, maybe this will just be fun. Maybe we'll just treat it as a rehearsal tour. And we ended up calling it the No Gas Money Tour. It was the longest tour we ever did, which was 14 days. It's 2 weeks. And we ended up losing our van on the last night. We crowdfunded a van with GoFundMe. And we lost our van because our bass player at the time that was driving thought he could make a yield when it was a green light. And he just took the left turn and we got T-boned. And that was the end of the band van at the time, which we named Booberry. But anyway, yeah, it's very hard for an independent band to plan tours and kind of expect where you're going to be. So at this point, we're throwing ourselves out there to everyone. We're hitting up people in Utah. We're hitting up people in Seattle. We're hitting up people all over where we can go. Because now that we're in Vegas, we used to be kind of in the middle in Reno. Now we're in Vegas. So we're really close to like LA, Phoenix, San Diego, all these different new places that we've never been before. LA was probably the only one that we've actually been to. And it leaves so much opportunity for us to expand and kind of start hopping on these local shows. I mean, I know for a fact that LA's got a really bomb music scene. San Diego, all these different places have the different music scenes and they don't know who we are yet. So we're going to take this year and really just kind of take everything that comes at us and do as much as we can. And I mean, I was talking to our bass player, Sam, and we really want to try to hit the Midwest at some point. We want to hit Wichita because we just recorded our album there with artist Flake and he produced it. And I want to go and play a show with him, but I also want to venture down into like the Texas area, play some Texas shows, have some Waffle House at 4 a.m. Yeah. So we're kind of just, like I said, we're just putting ourselves out there. Not really, we have no booking agent. We have no manager. We have no record label. You're looking at basically all of those jobs right now. It's social media manager, booker, everything. That's all the stuff that I do. And until we find somebody that really fits with what I want to do for the band, you know, vision wise, and they see the potential of the band, and it's not just a numbers thing where they look at us and they go, well, you have 5,000 monthly listeners, so we're not even going to listen to your stuff or give you a chance, or, you know, we're not even going to try to book you for anything. Like, I want to find somebody that sees what we're doing and actually believes in it. And that's really hard because there's not a lot of people doing what we need them to do for us. And there's not a lot of people that are not already set up with a really popular artist that want to help us. You know, there's people that want to kind of point us in the right direction, but we're not really getting anywhere. So it's easier to just stay independent and keep focusing on what's important: the music, the shows, and just having fun and the energy. So that's all we're doing this year. We're just going to be playing a bunch of shows. We got an entire album to release, which is insane. We've only done EPs up until this point. And last summer, right after we moved, like fresh into Vegas, no job, no money, no nothing, we fly out to Wichita, Kansas to record a full record. And it was the longest recording process we've ever done. I mean, we did a week for Drown. We did like a song a day. So that's 3 days. And then we did like 2 days of pre-production. So we were there for pretty much a week just doing 3 songs. So for us to do 12 in 10 days, 11 days is insane. And it came out perfect. Like, there's obviously things as a songwriter that I go back and fix, but I wouldn't change a thing. I think it's perfect.
Fantastic. Speaking of perfect, your next song, and I told you this off air, this is how I found you guys. And your song Hypo blew me away because not only is the video amazing, but the sound of this song is like right in my wheelhouse. Like, I could see you guys on stage back in the day in Seattle, you know, playing with Nirvana and Pearl Jam and, you know, Whiskey Love Bone, Mother Love Bone, and all that, all those bands. I'm like, God, these guys are so good. And then your acting in the video is awesome.
Thanks,
I love
man.
it. Yeah,
I don't put that on my resume often, but I can be a guy in a wheelchair yelling things a lot.
But you look drugged, you looked out of it, and like it was really, really good.
That was all Jake, man. ERJ Visuals. That's one of my best friends in the whole world. We do, you know, we'll get on a phone call and we'll just brainstorm for like 3 hours about the next music video or, you know, the next idea that we want to do. And he even wants to help us like book shows. And the dude is coming up as a photographer and, you know, videographer. He's shooting for bigger bands. Like, he just shot for like Scaring Kids and Convictions and these other big bands that I like. And he's like, nope, I'm your guy. You know, like, I'll stay with Split Persona for life. I'm a diehard fan. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, so we'll just, you know, we'll hop on video games and play and we'll talk about videos and stuff. But Hypo was kind of one of those ones where we just kind of knew already what was going to happen. We knew exactly what we wanted to do. I was like, this brainwash video. And he's like, yes. And we finally get to the day where we do it. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the filming of the band was taken in 2 different places. So the individual shots where like I'm by myself, David's by himself playing drums, all of that was done at a studio here in Vegas that I called morning of. And I was like, we need to film a music video, but we don't really have any places to go and we don't have a big budget and we only have $100. Can you help us out? And they were like, yeah, go do it. And we only were able to get up until the like solo shots were done until this person called me and they were like, you are way too loud. There are businesses next door. Please go somewhere else to finish the video. And we were like, what are we going to do? So we just go back to our rehearsal space and did the rest of the full band shots there. So it's kind of funny when you realize that it's all in different places. And then all the B-roll and all the, like, you know, me in the hospital gown and all that kind of stuff, all of that's done in Reno. I went all the way back up to Reno to do all that. Because that's where our like prime like in-person fan base is. Because we were there for so long, really cut our teeth there, built a fan base. So it was easy for me to like put out an ad on Instagram and be like, hey, we need 4 side characters for a video or 4 extras for a video that we need to buy these paint suits and these stupid masks. And people bought, you know, everybody was like, there were like maybe 10 people that were like, we want to do it. And then like 4 people ended up panning out, like had that day available to do it. And that's the 3 Stooges. I named them like the 3 nameless Stooges in the video. And they did great. You know, it was a very fun video. And I remember Jake was kind of doing his thing and he was like, yeah, act real out of it. Act real like, whoa, what's going on? And, you know, I'm not an actor. So I appreciate you saying that. I guess, bring the vibe to the video as best as I could.
Most definitely. We're going to play Hypo here in a second, but make sure you go out and follow Split Persona. They're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, X, YouTube. Go buy and stream their EP, Drown. Be looking for that new music here in 2025. Look, if they're coming into your town on the tour, gather up some friends and go see Split. I can't even talk. Go see Split Persona. You will. And look, I can tell from the Hypo video that you guys give an amazing live show, that you guys work hard on that stage.
That's our bread and butter, my friend. That is our bread and butter. Like, that is, we're playing this show that's, you know, by the time this interview airs, it'll be announced. It's a festival in Vegas called Pineapple Fest. And, you know, we're on there with all these bands and whatever, and we have like a half hour. And I remember calling Brogan yesterday, our guitar player, just being like, we got to bring it for this show. Like, it's our first like local festival where we're going to see a lot of faces, that people that have never heard of us and whatever. I was like, we need to bring it. And we already are. Like, all these shows that we're playing, I mean, most of the last year has been rehearsing. You know, we played a couple big shows last year, like with Drowning Pool and Saliva. Like, we played with those guys in Reno. Then we move out to Vegas, and, you know, basically the whole band like remapped. Like, we lost drummer, had to find a new drummer, you know, just got new bass player. So bass player was like, oh yeah, I'll move down to Vegas. I'll give up my life in Reno and pursue music. That sounds awesome. So Sam and Brogan live together, and they live about a minute away from my house. And it's just been great. And our drummer David lives somewhere in the middle, who I found on Instagram, by the way. I just found him on Instagram, and I was like, you want to play in this band? And he was like, I'm down to try out. And then I was just like, you're the drummer, dude. You're the best drummer in the world. You're the drummer. Yeah. So all we've done, you know, not having a lot of shows and bookings over the last, you know, 4 months or five months, just been playing like religiously, like twice a week, once a week at least, getting into rehearsal and just, what can we do new in the set? What can we bring? And we've really locked in like a good half hour, 45 minute, and even an hour and a half worth of music. So we're kind of just ready to do whatever. And that's why I said we're going to play a lot of shows this year. It's going to be really fun.
He is Zander. I am Mikey O, and this is the song Hypo from Split Persona. We'll see you when we see you. All right, very cool.
Sweet.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, man. This is the most fun interview I've done in like a long time.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Of course.
Before you leave, can I get a drop from you? Can you say, hi, this is Zander from the band Split Persona, and you're listening to Indie Rage Radio?
I'm going to try really hard not to mess this up. Hi. Nope. All right, one more. Hi, this is Zander Hoshak from Split Persona. All right. This is the one. I promise. Hi, this is Zander Hoshak, and you're listening to Indie Rage Radio. I'm going to do one more without hesitating.
Yeah, you got to put Split Persona in there, too.
Yeah, and I should probably say my actual like name that I've been using a lot, Zander Joel. Hey, this is Zander from Split Persona, and you're listening to Indie Rage Radio.
Well, that was it.
I don't know what happened, man. I don't know what happened. That was like the best one.
In.
I locked in. That happens in the studio, too. Like, I'll be like, I can't do it, and then just... and then I'll get it done.
Hey, well, let me ask you this. You were saying that, you know, pretty much you're the one-man show. Like, you don't have management, you don't have promotions or anything like that. How did you get on SMR? Are you calling all these radio stations that are in SMR?
I wish that was something I had the capability to do. We actually did it through a longtime friend of ours who's watched us kind of grow over time. His name is Bob Hathaway of, I think it's FM Music Management. He had a scout come out and check us out on our first tour, the one that I was talking about where it really ended bad. It was actually right after that show that everything went bad. That he sent out his scout, his like marketing manager or somebody. Her name was Maria. She was amazing. She comes out and watches us play. She's like, we'll be in touch. You know, I'm going to send this stuff to Bob and let him know I had a great time at the show, which at the time we weren't that good. But we were putting on such a good show that Bob was actually interested in, you know, talking to us and stuff. And, you know, we just kind of stayed in touch over the last couple of years. And I hit him up recently and I was just like, hey, you know, we still don't have management. If you're interested in signing any new bands, you know, we're here. And he was like, no, I'm not interested in signing you. I'm interested in helping you. I want to get you on radio. And he was like, I do my own radio campaigns. Do you want to get Hypo sent out to radio? And if so, do you want to do other songs to radio too? And I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. So we worked with him and did a radio campaign, which I think will be going on until February, which is cool. We'll keep selling Hypo to as many people as we can. And then after that, we're hoping to sell Warrior and then, you know, our next single after that, and just kind of keep going and keep everything in circulation until this band hits a big media base mark.
There you go. Well, keep up the hard work, dude. Like, sky's the limit for you guys. You got a great sound. You guys have a great look. And like, man, I see great things happening for you guys in the future.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. I appreciate your time, dude.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, man. I had so much fun.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we'll keep in touch, bro.
Please. Yeah, let's do it like a year from today. Let's do this.
The anniversary. Yes.
Anniversary. Let's do it.
All right, dude. Have a good one.
Hey, you too, man. Thank you.